Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Melinda Akilami.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, residents in Shaki West local government area of Oyo thrown into mourning as gunmen killed 10 people. State government condemns action, says perpetrators will face the wrath of the law. Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Tarid Lagwaja explains that the prevailing insecurity challenges facing the country will soon be a thing of the past. With the September 21st governorship election in Edo State just weeks away, APC takes campaign to Benin City just as the PDP holds its state congresses nationwide. And families move out of Jenin camp as Israeli military seals off facility for almost 4 days. In our business news, the Center for the Promotion of Private Enterprise calls on the Competition and Consumer Protection Regulator to prioritize market competition over price control amid inflation concerns. The Oyo State government has reassured the residents that it will not relent in efforts to secure lives and properties. The acting governor, Mr. Bayo Lawal, said efforts will be scaled up to ensure adequate security, especially in vulnerable areas. Mr. Lawal gave the assurance following an on-the-spot assessment visit to a village in Shaki West local government area where some gunmen attacked and killed some residents. Preliminary investigation reveals that 10 people lost their lives during the attack.
It was an emotional moment as the delegation of the Oyo State government, led by the acting governor of Oyo State, Mr. Bayo Lawal, visits the affected village in Gbekmoko, under Shaki West local government area of the state. The village, which is more than 2 hours drive from Shaki Township, is an agrarian community where both Yoruba and Fulani settlers have coexisted peacefully for years. Unfortunately, on Tuesday, August 27th, some yet to be identified assailants invaded the village, leaving death and sorrow in their wake. The Oyo State government identifies with residents of Gbekmoko community in their moment of grief and decides to pay a visit. While condemning the attack, Mr. Lawal says the Oyo State government, under the leadership of Governor Seyi Makinde, is committed to delivering on the fundamental task of securing the lives of residents of the state, as evident in its huge investment in security, adding that government will protect its various communities and ensure that no man is oppressed, irrespective of his ethnicity or religion.
We are not looking for this type of incident. So it caught us, by surprise, and we deem it fit to pay a visit to these people, to condole with them and give assurances that things of this nature must never happen again.
The acting governor encourages the people to live together in peace and assures them that the perpetrators will be brought to book, as government will provide all necessary logistics to aid security agencies in their investigations.
Investigations are ongoing, but the purpose of this visit is to give assurance to our people. It is one Nigeria, and people are free to live in peace, settle in peace, carry out their businesses in peace. Oyo State, as you know, we are not discriminating against any tribe.
Government leadership of Shaki West, under which the village falls, led the government delegation to the place of attack. They described the incident as unfortunate and sue for peaceful coexistence to resume as such an attack has not been recorded before.
Tuesday, so I heard bad news that those of our people living here was assassinated by unknown people. So we are here just to commiserate with them and to pay them a condolence visit.
On its part, the government insists that there is no room for discrimination against any tribe or religion in Oyo State, and no stone will be left unturned to fish out the perpetrators of such an evil act. Bukola Oriowo, Channels Television News.
More assurances of security, this time from the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja, who has stressed that the military would soon surmount the prevailing security challenges facing the country. The Army Chief gave the assurance during the closing ceremony of the Chief of Army Staff Combined Second and Third Quarters Conference 2024 in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State. The conference gave participants an opportunity to appraise the conduct of ongoing Army operations, training, and other activities in executing its constitutional mandate.
I must say that the feedback from the various commanders is encouraging. They show that the prevailing security challenges facing our dear nation, though daunting, are surmountable, and that we are indeed on the right path to victory. I assure Mr. President of the unflinching loyalty and commitment of the Nigerian Army to the country's constitution and promotion of our national interests and values. I assure Nigerians of the Nigerian Army's resolve to continue to collaborate with its sister services and other security agencies to ensure security of lives and properties across the country. I encourage law-abiding Nigerians to continue to support the government and the security forces in the efforts to make our country safe and prosperous.
Communities in Madagali local government area of Adamawa State recovering from the devastating impact of insurgency have called on the federal government to assist them to avert a humanitarian crisis in the area. This follows the displacement of hundreds of families from their homes as a result of flooding that destroyed houses and submerged farmlands. Our correspondent reports that despite the timely intervention of the Adamawa State government, the victims are still counting their losses.
Life for communities in Madagali and Michika local government areas, some of the hotbeds of insurgency, have returned to normal life until the recent flood that devastated the area, displacing over 14,000 people from their homes into temporary shelters. This development has brought untold hardship to all communities who have not only lost their homes, but some of their means of livelihood. Some of the victims narrate their ordeal.
I lost, my house is demolished. My goats, some were off. Some are with me. My foodstuff, gone.
We are happy with the prompt intervention of His Excellency. Virtually within 24 hours, we received some relief materials, food items and non-food items. The deputy governor was here, the governor himself was here, and now we have received our beloved member. He came with some relief too. And we have some individuals that came with relief too.
The relief materials presented by the Adamawa State government is complemented by the federal lawmaker representing Madagali and Michika to help reduce the hardship of the victims. He appeals for more intervention by the federal government in view of the scale of destruction.
We are going to push forward for the federal government to come to our aid because you can see the bridge is so damaged and the flood. Over 1,000 houses are down. Over 2,000 households are displaced. And the number of people in this IDP camp over 13,000. So we have a serious issue of humanitarian crisis in this place. Their health, their security, their feeding, and a lot of economic damage to our people here. And thus we are calling the federal government to come to our aid.
Even as the water recedes, the communities are faced with the problem of food shortage and accessibility, as the major bridges linking the areas to parts of Adamawa and Borno states have been cut off.
It's a similar scenario in Yobe State. 3 days after Potiskum-Gashua Road was damaged, another heavy downpour that lasted more than 12 hours yesterday has cut off a bridge at Jubam in Busari local government area along the Damaturu-Dapchi Federal Road. The bridge was the alternative road that links 6 local government areas in the northern part and the east to Damaturu, the state capital. The incident has now forced 9 local government areas in the east to only use canoes to access the state capital, Damaturu, or travel through Hadija in Jigawa State, a distance of over 500 kilometers. Already the cutoff of the 2 major federal roads in the state capital has crippled economic and farming activities along the northern and eastern parts of Yobe State. To politics now. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, has held congresses across its state chapters. During the exercise in Rivers State, the FCT minister, Mr. Nyesom Wike, threatened to give any governor who opposes him sleepless nights. The minister said this at the PDP Secretariat in Port Harcourt, the Rivers State capital, during the PDP State Congress. Our correspondent, Charles Oporum, has this report.
It's the PDP State Congress in Rivers State, and the venue is the PDP Secretariat along Aba Road in Port Harcourt, the state capital. In attendance are serving and past lawmakers at both federal and state levels, former council chairmen, and other party faithful. The INEC resident electoral commissioner and his staff are also present to monitor the exercise. The state governor, Seminala Ifubara, whose photograph is in the brochure, is not present at the event chaired by Senator Sandy Ono, who promises a free and fair election.
I must commend you for the serious successes you have recorded already. We will abide by all rules and regulations of the party, and we shall perform according to law and due process. We are very sure that at the end of the day, brand new executive that is responsible and respectable will be delivered by you.
Midway into the exercise, the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, arrives to a rousing reception. Shortly after, he casts his vote and takes the podium to address the gathering.
Today, the State Congress is being held. INEC is here. Security agencies are here. The law requires that for every Congress or primaries of any political party, INEC must observe those congresses or promises or primaries, as the case may be. So I don't know what anybody will say that there was no Congress anywhere. I assured you, yes, we have done our own part by electing a government in the state. If the government says it does not want us, will you kill yourself? Will you run away from the party you built? We are the party members, and we have taken over our party.
After voting and counting are concluded, the chairman announces the winners, and the newly elected chairman promises to embark on reconciliation to strengthen the party for the next round of elections in 2027.
The first thing I have within my mind I think we'll do is reconciliation. We must bring every person back. We must. All those who agree are going to visit the elders, the leaders, the founding fathers. You can't be a founding father when your house is falling. Those who are fomenting problems in Rivers State, they are not PDP members. These are people who have no governor, who have no national assembly, who have no assembly in their states. They come to Rivers State to spoil what GPMWK has taken time to build in Rivers State. Work at, and we are going to resist it.
39 delegates have been elected to run the affairs of the PDP here in Rivers State, and they are immediately sworn in by the former Attorney General of the state. Charles Opurum, Channels Television News.
In part two, after the break, we'll bring you more PDP congresses in other states. That's in a moment. Join us again. Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television. A reminder of our top stories. Government killed 10 people in Oyo community. State government condemns action, says perpetrators will face the wrath of the law. Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja, says Army will continue to defend the nation's democracy. With the governorship election in Edo State just weeks away, All Progressives Congress takes campaign to Benin City, just as the PDP holds its state congresses nationwide. And families move out of Jenin camp as Israeli military seals off facility for almost 4 days. Solomon Areyinka has emerged as the chairman of the Delta State People's Democratic Party at its congress, which held at the Cenotaph, Asaba, the state capital. The chairman of the election committee, Mr. Collins Okafor, declared him and 38 others winners for the various positions in the election. And the governor urged him to ensure equity and justice in the party.
Very soon they will be inaugurated. It's for them to do well, to bring everybody on board, to unite the party, because PDP is still very strong in Delta State. We are united, and you can see with what we are doing in terms of infrastructure, in terms of human capital development, and all the things we are doing. It's good for us to work together. My advice for them is that they should see how to build the party, so that the party will get stronger for victory for 2027.
While in Enugu, the state chapter of the PDP has successfully elected 39 members of the State Executive Committee, with a former Commissioner for Housing, Dr. Martins Chukwuwike, as the new chairman. The winners were announced by the 6-man PDP Enugu State Congress Electoral Committee, led by Mr. Tony Iyoha. Speaking on behalf of the new State Executive Committee, the newly elected chairman promised to lead the party on the path of loyalty and fairness in order to consolidate its hold on the state.
Your Excellency, I want to assure you that this committee will definitely give you what we will describe as unalloyed support, unalloyed loyalty. It's also obvious that in a few weeks' time, we'll be going to elect our local government chairman and councillors. I would assure you that this team will do our best to make sure that we'll continue to do our 17 over 17 in Jesus' name.
The People's Democratic Party has also elected new officials for the party in Taraba and Bauchi states following the conclusion of the Delegates' Congress in the state. The officials are expected to pilot the affairs of the party for the next 4 years. The governors of both states have urged members to ensure unity in the party.
Members of the People's Democratic Party are taking a significant step towards strengthening the party in the country. The opposition parties holding delegate congress across the country and party members in Taraba State are not left out. The crisis trailing the party is threatening the unity of the party, and Governor Abu Kefas believes that members must work to steady the ship.
We must all work tirelessly to keep the legacy of our party alive, ensuring that the values and principles that have guided us this far remain at the forefront of our actions.
The new executives are expected to lead the party over the next 4 years.
Our leadership will pursue the cardinal principle of growth of the party, unity of the party, and discipline within the party.
Party members in Bauchi State also conducted the exercise despite the heavy rainfall. Over 2,000 delegates participated in the exercise, which saw all the candidates emerge unopposed.
I, do solemnly swear and affirm.
The principal private secretary to the governor, Bala Muhammad, emerged as state chairman of the party. He is joined by other elected officials as they are sworn in.
I indulge every individual here present to make sure that we own the party. If we think this leadership is only on us, and then everybody can go and do whatsoever he wants without giving us the necessary support required, then definitely we may not deliver your expectations.
The immediate task before the committees is to unite the party and midwife the process that will lead to the 2027 general election.
Ahead of the Edo governorship election in September, the All Progressives Congress APC is keeping on with its campaign tour as part of efforts to woo candidates and keep the party in the minds of the electorate. The party went round the Benin metropolis where it assured residents of promoting business opportunities and keeping the state secure, amongst other plans in its campaign manifesto.
Locations within the Benin metropolis were the focus of the APC campaign team on Wednesday, starting with areas on Upper Mission Road extension. The campaign team highlights infrastructure the party believes ought to have received attention, promising to do better if they get the people's mandate to serve.
Insecurity will be a thing of the past in our land. Hospital, we are going to revive our hospital back and build new hospitals. Let me also let you that agriculture, we are going to provide the farmers with fertilizers. We are going to give them loan. Market women, we are going to give you soft loan without interest. We will make sure that life is good again.
If you watch out for television now, he will tell you a GDP doggo. We have done this, we have done that. But on ground, you will not see anything. Everything have been his paperwork. To collect money from federal government, to collect money from World Bank, he has been borrowing. But you can see the condition of your road.
The Kara Market off Upper Mission Road is another early host to the APC campaign trains. The governorship candidate launches into the Hausa language to ask for the traders' support on election day.
So inshallah, 21st of September,
The APC thereafter approaches this business area on Cook Road, also in the state capital, soliciting votes come 21st September.
21st of September, vote for APC. You vote for APC, you are voting for Senator Monday Okwebolo. You are voting for Right Honorable Dennis Idausa.
as the campaigns continue ahead of the governorship election in September. The APC in all the areas visited remains consistent in disclosing its intention to serve the people well if voted into office.
Still talking politics, residents of Kebbi State are electing chairmen and councillors in the local government council elections. The process was largely peaceful and witnessed an impressive turnout despite some setbacks like the delay in the commencement of the exercise. According to the guideline issued by the Kebbi State Independent Electoral Commission, accreditation and voting took place simultaneously across all polling units.
The wet situation in Kebbi State did not stop residents from exercising their franchise in the state's local government elections. State governments have been conducting local government elections following the decision of the Supreme Court of the independence of the third tier of government.
I'm satisfied with what they are doing in these very polling units, because I would say in this very polling unit they are doing very well. The turnout is okay.
We are here to observe and see if the election was conducted free and fair, because that is our duty, to observe. If there is any malpractice or any illegal activities that is going in the polling unit, we need to observe and we say it.
Governor Nasir Idris cast his vote at the Nagari Science College at about 11 a.m., accompanied by family members, friends, and some top government officials. He appraises the exercise.
There is orderliness. People came out in mass, men and women, because they are voting. This is the first election, no, the second election, because when I became governor, we have done inconclusive of Ariwa, then the federal constituency, Shanga, Yauri, Ingasi federal constituency. And the board was on our side, we were able to win all those elections. And this is the local government election.
The rainfall delayed the commencement of the exercise in some polling units. Nevertheless, voters across the state voted peacefully to elect chairmen and councillors for the 21 local government areas and the 225 wards across the state.
Still ahead on the news at 10, Center for the Promotion of Private Enterprise calls on the Competition and Consumer Protection Regulator to prioritize market competition over price control amid inflation concerns. That's on Business News. Do stay with us. Welcome back. The Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, which is the umbrella body of 18 registered political parties in the country, is asking members to adopt forensic screening of credentials submitted by aspirants before they are allowed to represent the party in any election. Speaking at the signing of a memorandum of understanding with the Chartered Institute of Forensics and Certificate Fraud Investigation of Nigeria in Abuja, the IPAC chairman notes that such screening will help reduce post-election litigations and save political parties from the embarrassment of candidates who parade fake certificates.
What the Chartered Institute for Forensic Certified Examiner does is directly connected to solving some of the key problems that we have in our democratic environment in Nigeria. I was discussing with the DG yesterday, we were in a meeting, and he said, how can I have somebody who is not learned coming to teach me what I do? Somebody who doesn't know, who is not educated, coming to educate me. It is embarrassing. And then that aberration is responsible for most of the ills we have today in our polity. And by the grace of God, with the steps we are taking, gradually we'll get what we desire as Nigerians for all of us. And we will go ahead after this to discuss with INEC too, to see how you can partner, or we can partner with INEC too, on not just the certificate, but on some of the sensitive materials that INEC use in conducting election. We will continue to amplify this message until we get it done.
The new Chief Executive Officer of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, Mr. Tunji Bello, says the agency is concerned about the inflated market prices nationwide. During an interview on our current affairs program, Inside Sources, he mentioned that these concerns prompted a stakeholders meeting before the commission would implement strict measures against violators.
We feel that our mission is to help ensure that there is fair competition amongst traders, so that the consumers, basically the interest of the commission is to protect the interest of consumer in the long run, so that they are not cheated, they are not unfairly exploited one way or the other. So based on that, we now look around. We did a survey around the country, and we found that in several markets, you have a group of people who come to the market and then trying to stop, trying to restrict the way people buy things or even trade. Even amongst themselves, there are people who come around and so on and so buy products from the market and ensure that maybe there's a bit of scarcity in the meantime.
So are they an association or?
Sometimes at the level of association, sometimes at the level of group of people or individuals and so on. So there's a collusion somewhere we found out. So we feel that.
And this was across the country, I'm sorry.
Across the country, based on our survey, Lagos, Kano, Kaduna, Port Harcourt, Onitsha, Ibadan, Osogbo, several places we've been to. We did a survey and it took us time to do this. So based on that, we now felt, look, we have a law that empowers us to stop these practices and so on, and with very, very stern measures on it. Either if you are found to be guilty of any of these practices and so on, you could be fined up to 10 million naira, Section 107 of the FCCPC Act, or you could go to jail for 3 months. We now felt, okay, there is no need to start applying the hard power now. Let us call the traders, the manufacturers, the middlemen, and so on. Let us call them to stakeholder meetings and so on. So, and let us engage them, let us discuss. For we know things are very difficult. We have inflation in the country, and so that was the basis of that stakeholders meeting.
This edition of Inside Sources will be broadcast tomorrow, that's Sunday, from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. The program will now be broadcast bi-weekly with episodes on Friday at 11:30 a.m. and Sundays at 6 p.m. To education now, the Benue State government has asked stakeholders, traditional and religious institutions to encourage children to enroll for the free basic education from nursery to junior secondary school. The Commissioner for Education and Knowledge Management, Mr. Frederick Iyan, made this known at a meeting during an expanded enrollment drive awareness campaign in Benue South Senatorial District.
You're back, Oga. Education stakeholders and traditional rulers converge on Otupo, the ancestral home and seat of the paramount ruler of the Idoma ethnic group in Benue State. The Ochidoma, His Royal Majesty John Elaigu Odogbo, arrives and receives briefings on the affairs of the Benue policy on free education, which he says is the bedrock for building competitive leaders in the global job markets.
What are the reasons that people in private sector get more enrollment than the government institution? And I will find a solution to mitigating against the exodus of people leaving government institutions to private institutions.
After the meeting, the delegation drive through the streets of Otupo to meet with an expanded stakeholders meeting comprising of traditional and religious leaders, parents, and education managers.
Imagine how excited they are.
Various lectures on access to free education and the compulsory operations of nursery classes in all public schools by experts are delivered to drive home the point.
The management of the board has made it mandatory that all functional primary schools have ECCD centers before the commencement of 2024-2025 academic session. In our public primary schools today, we have space for such children. We have space for children of that age to come in and have a quality education.
While the executive chairman of SUBEB presents the current enrollment statistics and the need to enforce the government policy on free education, the Commissioner for Education and Knowledge Management drive home the point on why parents need to take advantage.
Despite the efforts of the state and federal government to ensure that our pupils and our wards gain access to free and compulsory education, if you go around some of our basic schools, you will see that we have the basic infrastructure, we have qualified teachers, we have the best facilities in the state as we speak, yet we don't have enrollment, we don't have pupils utilizing these facilities.
It's our concern that our children will not just be enrolled to study, but will also that will prepare them for the challenges and opportunities of 21st century.
Responding on behalf of stakeholders, the Ada Ohimini pledges their support to take the campaign to their communities.
Let's put aside any other sentiment, whether monetary sentiment or whatever, but put first and foremost the education of our children.
The Zone C enrollment awareness campaign drive ends with parents enlightened about free education and operations of nursery classes in public schools, which the people celebrate with their cultural performances.
Same with education, more reactions continue to trail the recent policy of the Federal Ministry of Education to peg the minimum age requirement for the enrollment of the Senior Secondary School Examination and Joint Admission and Matriculation Board Examination at 18 years. The latest is from the university sector, as members of the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, SANU, describe the policy as limiting, backward, and capable of shortchanging students and their parents. Addressing journalists at the end of a meeting by the Principal Officers Association in Abuja, the SANU president, Mr. Mohammed Ibrahim, urged the federal government to step the decision down and make further consultations on the matter in order to avoid a crisis in the education sector.
NEC in session lent her voice to critical stakeholders in the education sector in condemning the decision of the federal government to peg the age at which students can write senior secondary school certificate examinations and gaining admissions into tertiary institutions at the age of 18. Generality of stakeholders believe that this policy will drag the education sector backward, while reacting to the comment of the Minister of Education, Professor Tahir Mamman, that the from 2025, any candidate who is not up to 18 will not be allowed to write SSCE and the Joint Admissions and Matriculations Board examination. We ask government to consult widely, as it has promised on this critical matter, to avoid crisis and also dampening the morale of parents and also shortchanging our children from attaining their goals as God has made for them.
The Senior Special Assistant to the President on Citizenship and Leadership, Vinsola Abiola, says more funding for criminal justice institutions like correctional centers and legal aid councils are part of the recommendations that have been put forward to improve access to justice. The presidential aide, whose office put together a roundtable in Abuja to chart a way forward in addressing the many challenges affecting justice delivery, especially for vulnerable groups like young people, assured them that the current administration has the political will to match words with action.
There will be onward engagements with different stakeholders in the legislature, in the Federal Executive Council, everybody within government who is empowered in one way or the other to influence the criminal justice system, whether it's by laws, whether it's by policies, will be engaged by the office in conjunction with our partners. And then we also understand that when it comes to government and the ability of certain agencies to do their job, it also comes down to things like equipment, and equipment is tied to funding. So definitely we'll also be pushing for increased allocation
to agencies like the Correctional Service, like the Legal Aid Council, so that they're better enabled to do their job. But then we also understand that with government, there's a long list of unlimited ones, and then there are very finite and limited resources. So again, part of what we'll also do is engage with our partners in the development sector, civil society, to see how much more can be done in terms of supporting the agencies within the criminal justice ecosystem to ensure that, one, they're better able to deliver on their duties, and that, two, the welfare of people in correctional facilities, especially young people, is improved significantly. So it's a work in progress. It's a process that we have just started with this meeting, because we need to have actionable feedback from all the stakeholders involved, so we know exactly where to engage and what to engage on, and what to ask for and what to recommend during those engagements.
The Standards Organization of Nigeria, SON, has emerged as one of the top-performing government agencies in the latest compliance ranking in the ease of doing business in the country. Speaking with Channels Television after a meeting in Abuja, the Director of Public Relations in the agency, Mrs. Folusho Bolaji, explains that the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council Secretariat's half-year report shows that the organization secured second position with a compliance score of 78.2% amongst 20 ministries, departments, and agencies. She says with this latest achievement, the agency will continue to ensure products are up to par.
With the Mr. President agenda, which is focused on digitization, Standard Organization, working with PEBEC, have ensured that we have optimized our system to ensure that we deliver service efficiently and effectively. And that's what has earned us second in the overall rating. And that report also showed that a lot of agencies have actually come up compared with the past history. They are now above that 30%. It has moved to 60%. That means a lot of agencies actually came into this agenda of Mr. President, because when the service is efficiently delivered, there will be overall effect and trade will be facilitated. What we do in Standard Organization of Nigeria is to ensure that we go into every sector and ensure that we save these foreign earnings, that if we actually improve on all the products in Nigeria, we will not be wasting money importing, and trade will be facilitated and the economy will come down. It will be accessible to everyone, especially the small, medium enterprises.
From company news now, an indigenous oil firm, Belema Oil Producing Limited, has announced the appointment of Mr. Amadou Sambo as the new managing director and Mr. Emmanuel Onos as the new chief finance officer. In a statement, the company said these appointments seek to drive its transformation and realize its shared vision. According to the Belema Oil Management, Mr. Sambo comes on board with over 35 years' experience in the oil and gas industry, spanning public and private sectors in Nigeria and the United States, while Mr. Onos has over 35 years of experience in the financial space of the oil and gas industry at the managerial level in both local and international scenes. The company believes that the combination of both men, supported by the existing management team, will revitalize its joint venture operations, unlock multi-billion-dollar value, and reposition it for a greater height that will be more beneficial to all shareholders. The company adds that it considers the team as the perfect blend of skill and expertise needed to reset Belema Oil as a world-class E&P company and to ensure that it becomes the best public enterprise for Nigeria and international equity investors. For more business news, here's Will Ibong.
Thank you, Melinda. And the Center for the Promotion of Private Enterprise, CPPE, has warned the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC, to avoid acting as a price control agency. This follows the FCCPC's recent ultimatum to traders to lower prices. The CPPE argues that its FCCPC should focus on promoting competition and protecting consumer rights instead of managing retail prices, leaving inflation issues to monetary and fiscal authorities. Meanwhile, the FCCPC, in a statement on its official X page today, has clarified that its directive aims to prevent practices like price gouging and not to control prices. The Commission acknowledges the economic challenges and reaffirms its commitment to fair competition and consumer protection while working with stakeholders to address broader economic issues. Now, as Nigeria navigates a complex landscape of economic challenges and opportunities, stakeholders have come together to dissect the forces shaping the country's future, according to the Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Economic Summit Group, NESG, Mr. Tayo Aduloju. Nigeria is on a growth trajectory, however, believes that food security must be tackled to ensure sustainability. Mr. Aduloju made this known at the private sector dialogue on the state of the economy in the first half, organized by the NESG with its medium-term outlook in view.
Looking at macroeconomic numbers for the first half of the year, the big message is whilst we are now seeing movement in terms of growth, 3%, 3.1%, signaling an improvement. So we are on a growth trajectory. Lots of work is required, especially because the sectors that historically were drivers of growth have slowed down still due to macro pass-through risks that were encountered due to macroeconomic volatility. More importantly, to signal going forward that government needs to double down on the big structural reforms. Agriculture and food security remains priority number one. If we do not tackle food security and bring down food inflation, we will not be able to really bring down overall headline inflation.
Nigeria's FX reserves has recorded another weekly decline, and according to data from the central bank, the gross reserves level fell by $122.95 million to $36.32 billion as at August the 29th, marking the fourth consecutive decline in the month of August. However, analysts believe that the successful completion of the domestic US dollar bond, which closed on August the 30th, could boost the CBN's efforts in stabilizing the naira in the short term. Now let's check in on the domestic stock markets. Positive sentiments returned to the local bourse this week after 2 consecutive weeks of losses. The all-share index advanced by 0.63% week-on-week to 96,580 points, driven by strong investors' interest in O&O following the completion of the acquisition of the Nigerian Agip Oil Company, as well as bargain hunting activities in Boa Foods. As a result, the month-to-date and year-to-date returns improved to 1.2%, but that's in negative territory, and 29.2% positive territory, respectively. Now we see activity levels remaining mixed. Total trading volume declined by 50.1%, while total trading value declined by 60.9%. Sectoral performance was broadly positive as all key indexes recorded gains. O&O topped the gainers chart with a 60.7% increase, while Transcorp Power led the decliners for this week. Consolidated Hallmark Holdings, Veritas Capital Assurance, and Access Holdings were the most actively traded stocks by volume. And that's it on business news. It's now back to Melinda for sports news on news.
Many thanks, Will. Super Eagles Victor Osimhen has been sidelined by Napoli after the team left him both off their squad list for the 2024-2025 campaign and potentially in season-long limbo. Osimhen is now an outcast in southern Italy. His place and shirt number 9 taken by new arrival Romelu Lukaku. Osimhen has been agitating for a move away from Napoli after the club descended into chaos almost immediately after claiming their third league crown. The 25-year-old could yet find a way out of Napoli as the transfer window closes. And this means the current African Footballer of the Year will not feature in new coach Antonio Conte's plan to revamp a stale Napoli squad. In the English Premier League, Erling Haaland continued his superb start to the season by hitting back-to-back hat-tricks as defending champions Manchester City defeated West Ham United 3-1 at the London Stadium. The second-half goal from João Pedro saw Brighton come from behind to draw after Arsenal had Declan Rice sent off. Brian Buemo scored twice in a 3-1 win for Brentford against Southampton. Aston Villa survived the second-half fight-back from Leicester City as they held on for a narrow victory. Bournemouth produced an extraordinary late fight-back as they came from 2 goals down to beat Everton at Goodison Park. Nottingham Forest maintained their unbeaten start to the season, while Ipswich Town earned their first point after returning to the top flight. And Liverpool manager Arne Slot is anticipating a different challenge when his side faces Manchester United for the second time in a month. The sides met in a pre-season friendly in South Carolina. That was at the beginning of August, where the Reds earned a 3-0 victory over United. The bitter rivals clash yet again in their third match of the Premier League campaign, and Slot is expecting a completely different atmosphere at Old Trafford on Sunday. He has overseen 2 straight victories over Ipswich and Brentford, but they now face a tough task.
Expect is mostly about the players they face, but I think now playing in a hostile environment with 75,000, I think it's 75, isn't it? Players have to be aware of that, but the good thing for me is might be my first time that I go there with Liverpool. It's going to be my second time over there, but many of these players have played there before, so I don't think I have to prepare them for these 75,000. They've been used to this, but I have prepared them in the best possible way of what they can expect, because United plays, in my opinion, a bit different than the last 2 seasons.
On the other side of the divide, Manchester United boss Erik ten Hag has admitted that Liverpool are a more mature side than his side, with the advantage of a cohesive team of established players. Ahead of the Sunday's Premier League clash at Old Trafford, he said Liverpool are in a different phase of the circle of life. Manchester United have not beaten Liverpool in the Premier League since August 2022.
It's always when Liverpool comes, it's very exciting, and we are really looking forward to compete with them. So we have a good squad. We can bring a good team out. Of course, it's early in the season. We have to progress. We have to improve. Also because we have to integrate some new players in. But yeah, we are really looking forward for this game.
On the international scene, it's been another 24 hours of fierce fighting in the West Bank as Israeli forces are pushing on with a major counter-terrorism operation in the city of Jenin. The occupation, now in its 4th day, has seen several gun battles and fighting between Palestinian group Hamas and the Israeli Defense Forces, IDF. This latest offensive has forced families in the Jenin refugee camp to evacuate the area, with most of them lacking access to food, water, and electricity. Medical group Doctors Without Borders say Israeli forces are obstructing access to health facilities and targeting ambulances in the city. It's a blame game situation for China and the Philippines, as both countries have accused each other of ramming Coast Guard vessels in a disputed area of the South China Sea. The Philippines claimed a Chinese ship directly and intentionally rammed into its vessel, while Beijing accused the Philippines of deliberately crashing into a Chinese ship. There were no casualties following the collision near the Sabina Shoal. The incident is the latest in a long-running and escalating crisis between the two countries over various islands and zones in the South China Sea. China's Coast Guard has called on the Philippines to withdraw from the area, but the Philippines Coast Guard has said it would not move its vessel. And finally, on the news at 10 to 9, Chidinma Adesina, representing Taraba State, has been crowned Miss Universe Nigeria 2024, beating out 25 other contestants for the coveted title. The 25-year-old beauty queen, who recently made headlines for her withdrawal from the Miss South Africa pageant due to a controversy over her Nigerian heritage, proved to be a fan favorite throughout the competition after getting the highest number of votes. And the main news again. Gunmen have killed 10 people in Ashaki West local government area of Oyo. State government condemned the action, said perpetrators will face the wrath of the law. That's the news at 10 tonight. I'm Melinda Akinlami on behalf of the team. Good night.